For INDA IRAE, though, obviously their T-side there on Overpass was super duper impressive. Are they going to be able to give us anything similar here on Nuke? Because that could put them in for a flying start, basically, on the second map.
We'll have to wait and see. Trasko, of course, getting to pick the side to start. They will be starting on the arguably slightly weighted CT side of Nuke. Can they arrest the momentum of INDA IRAE, who are going very quickly down the B ramp? Daneko not connecting the early shots. Will be able to dive down unaffected, but it's going to be in a lot of trouble now as they swarm onto his position. He's going to tuck into dark. He's trying to bait the single doors player out, but the shot's just being missed, and through the smoke, Toxic is gone. Two big picks to start things off. Wonderful has been raid bossed onto a 5-7 here, but in a 3-on-5 retake with no defuse kit to work with, I mean, do they even want to give this one a go? The early nades go in. They're trying to chip away. Wonderful will be walking into an absolutely stacked angle. The 5-7 spam's good for one. Good damage onto Davcost as well, who will be the next to fall. Now this feels viable. Wonderful with Temple finding a clean one-tap has brought them back into this round. He's bought them time, and they've got all the kills. How on earth have they done that? Wonderful with a triple. Temple and Fostar with one more. A 3v5 retake is stuck, and Trasko, that is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, to shift the momentum back, to gain some confidence after what had been a brutal second half on Overpass. And, well, it's wonderful as well who actually gets to... the situation isn't wonderful. It kind of was, but I was talking more so it's wonderful who gets himself to 3k. It's one of those names as well. God damn it, Wolfie. It's going to be... It's like, you know, when you're casting Just from Saw, or you're casting Big. They've just got names that you use in the sentence normally, so... Can be it can be a bit annoying, but good work by Wonderful, Temple, and Fostar, of course, who were able to come through with the frags there in that opening pistol. But now they've got to make sure they don't drop too much to what is a pretty solid force buy out from INDA IRAE. They actually aren't able to get anything done with those initial SMGs. I was going to say still some rifles though in play to do some further damage, and well, they kind of get torn apart, to be honest. Davcost for now still rocking the Deagle. I'm not sure if he was aware that he had actually picked up an AK, but he doesn't get a chance to use it. The Neko's going to be in there to finish it off, and, well, a very quick second round in favour of Trasko.
That was a little bit brutal. They tried to go quickly. Got absolutely demolished. This is what we wanted to see from Trasko, though. A little bit of life in the old bones. The IRAE, a rough start to things. We'll be half buying into this one, however. Deagle's out. Davcost, of course, will want the AWP at the first available opportunity, so he's down on the Glock, and as Wonderful and Temple pick up the MP9s, it's time to start farming. Wonderful close to red, nice clean headshot for the first onto X5. Knows there's going to be a lot more where that came from, so sticking around, seeing what damage he can find. Switches actually to the recovered Deagle to take the long-range fight. Clean one-tap. Davcost next up in the crosshairs. Wonderful, absolutely farming, and this is like more like it from Trasko. Railway on the exit, we'll get at least one. That rifle gives him something to work with, but again, that lack of armor. Wonderful's just going to drive by him. He tries to lob the AK onto the roof as well. I think he just about managed it, so at least the AK not recoverable. Small silver linings for INDA IRAE.
Yeah, good work. I mean, there's not many rifles in play at all there for Trasko. There's just a one M4 carried over, so getting rid of that AK was actually a pretty big deal. You can see a lot of weaknesses coming into the opening gun round for Trasko off the back of it. So we'll see what INDA IRAE can do. They need to try and turn things around here early on, ideally, on that T side. Start grinding out a little bit. They're happy enough, I believe, to just stick to all the rifles here. Wonderful, though. He's got his up, and well, we'll see what he's trying to do with it. Toxic is going relatively aggressive. He actually just wants to get in towards Secret. Wonderful then actually is going to have a bit of vision, I believe, above the smokes. But no, he's heading back in towards the inner site for now. He'll be just shifting back and forth as the, I guess, the assistance is needed. But Toxic completely catches X5 off guard. He just had, I guess, no idea that that was a possibility. A free upgrade.
Corner of the smoke helps him out a lot there, Toxic. And off the back of it, INDA IRAE again looking a little bit lost. Railway starting to work his way in through Mini with the flashes, but Temple still on this close angle with the MP9 yet to be cleared. Toxic now looking at the backstab. They drop, they're in for a nightmare, and exactly that's what happens. Davcost does trade it. And now they look to go quickly into that lower site, and it's just one rotation. Daneko on the right-hand side can't get it done. Temple will drop early. That sound should have been heard, but the spray down is better. 2v3, it's utter chaos at the moment. Wonderful's allowed to drop, but does get taken out of the equation. And 2v2, we have a plant on the lower side. Timing, absolutely everything, but Railway is up for it. And Temple, on just 19 points of health, has to clutch out 1v2. Can't land the spray down. IRAE finally register on the board. It will be another buy coming through from Trasko, but it's chaos again. That's all that seems to work for the T side.
Yeah, I mean, it went pretty well back on Overpass. They were moving pretty decisively and quickly with their actual pushes, and well, we've seen, of course, a pretty troublesome CT side for Trasko there. I think on Nuke it's a little bit harder, though, especially once the CTs get their economy going, if they have strong weapons and if they have strong utility behind it. Obviously, in that previous round, we've seen a ton of MP9s carried over for Trasko, but good start, not really enough for them to actually get themselves the round win, unfortunately. In the array, if they get this one, fully breaking down Trasko at that point, then they'll have a good opportunity to even start building up a bit of a lead for themselves. But X5, moving down in towards Secret, this time is going to be again taken down, but it's by Toxic, who had moved in from the other direction. He moved in through ramp, I believe, instead, or it could have been down the vent, as it is indeed broken. But everyone now for in the array, just in towards lobby. A looks to be the goal. They've got a lot of time, so they could still shift it elsewhere, and I think they might want to look back towards ramp for a while. But at least a couple of the players, yeah.
Again, the early 4-on-5. Worrying consistency in the conversions at this point for the CT side. IRAE, near enough entirely committed to a heavily stacked A site. Fostar's going to stick himself right in the middle of the action with this. He's trying to hold for the outside creep. Instead, with 45 seconds left, they're going to try and sneak their way out, trying to play the timings. Flowing's been spotted. The info is now there. Fostar tucked close. If he's not cleared, he'll do so much work. Railway does deal with him, but now Temple behind the site has got it all to do, and it's 3 quick kills. IRAE out of nowhere have pretty much guaranteed the round. Wonderful and Daneko are going to have to save this. 20 seconds left. If the bomb was a little slower going down, maybe they'd stand half a chance. Wonderful is going to have a little bit of a poke in on this AWP, but again, the timing on this crunch just could not have been better. IRAE, they're wandering into the site and they're taking everything away from the CT side. The hunt is on. Wonderful up for the task. Will deal with Flowing. And I don't think IRAE will really want to commit any more rifles to having a wander at that AWP, so should be a relative stalemate at this point. But again, a 4v5 that IRAE are finding the conversion for, and that is no mean feat.
No, not at all. Another kill, though, being caught by Daneko, so tons of damage is at least being done. Trasko are making it expensive, but they can't afford to lose either of these weapons themselves, so I was going to say things could get dangerous if Hurtfrisk had kept going forward, but he himself just moves back towards the ramp, not wanting to drop his rifle either, so they were happy enough to just kind of have a stalemate towards the end. But as you said, in the array now, they get their second round. They actually do break down the economy of Trasko. Obviously, the op and the M4 are carried over, so they won't have nothing in this round. They will have a small bit to work with. I don't think they can really afford to get too many pistols behind them. It's just the 1P250, a second one pulled out on the Fostar in the end as well. I think it was actually dropped over. So there's a chance there for a small bit to be done at least, but I would expect in the array to have a relatively easy time with this one, and then with a pretty rough buy as well available in the next round for Trasko. They might actually decide even for another eco. So a chance to at least tie things up or maybe even get a lead going here. Again though, one man miles ahead moving down Secret. That has been the case now a couple times in a row.
Gotta start patching that, because that has been punished far too frequently. Again, IRAE down into the 4v5 early. Toxic pushing up outside. Catches the timing and a double dink. Rifle recovered. Railway goes down. And the T side now with near enough zero map control to work with. This starts to get really nasty. 3 rifles on the board for Trasko. Wonderful starting to sneak the AWP down to the lower side, which is going to be the intended target for this T side offensive. Double doors open. Hurtfrisk, if he wanders in, is going to be picked. It's a clean shot from Wonderful. It's falling apart at the seams this time for IRAE. Couple of mistakes being made and the whole round hinging off of it. Davkos wants to work his way out single door. He's waiting for the control room pick, but Floian's not being given anything. Daneko happy to sit back in this angle. Not giving anything away here, and with 30 seconds left on the clock, the CTs are perfectly set for this. Davkos trying to just bait the AWP's crosshair away from his teammate, but Daneko is still alive and kicking. As soon as he swings, this is over. Clean headshot to Floian, and Davkos, there's nothing he can do. He's stuck in towards single. Daneko will swing with the kill, and out of nothing, Trasko have found their fourth. The Chaos finally swings back their way, and it's a harsh reset for INDA.
Oh, that's rough. They had such a good chance as well to break them down. They've got money on a couple players. I don't know if it'd be worth buying. I was about to say, with 2400 loss bonus, they could just take the one eco and then get a pretty solid buy in the next, but it seems like they do want to go for it. Yeah, they've definitely got to clean up the push down secret, though. X5, he should probably be either just slowing it, because it's good that he's getting the early control and he's getting there, but he should probably be slowing it down rather than moving directly in towards secret while his teammates are literally on the way to join him. So it was an opportunity kind of given away, in my opinion. We'll see what can be done here. In the IRAE, they've got decent weaponry, and, well, they've got a plan in mind. Rush in towards ramp. Daneko actually decides to stick around for a few seconds. He should still be able to escape back, and actually will even get a smoke down, but they're right up in his face already. An X5 on that Tech 9. He's going to start things off on a high note. Making up for that previous round, of course. A weapon retrieved, and, well, I don't think there's much that can be done about the 9, that bomb plant. It's going to be a tough retake for Trasko.
Again, this starts to look very ugly very early, and I'm not sure Trasko can really afford to be committing to these kind of decisions. 3 AKs on site, Mac 10, Tech 9. They're well placed in the afterplants as well. The T side giving nothing away on the initial spams. They're going to try and push the issue. Hot flashes in, Molotovs through the double doors, but Hurtfrist through the smoke has found the kill. Traded at least for one by Temple, but again, that bomb is so far gone. The CT side will just be hightailing it, knowing that they have to save, given that this was the force buy from that T side, and already the punishment looking to come in. Railway will be able to nab that AWP right at the death of things. IRAE starting to see why they picked Nuke here, Dean. Their T side is looking electric, and Trasko, as much as they're finding responses to it, it's very one and done.
Yeah, and it was down to, even as we had mentioned, kind of some mistakes being made from IRAE and some chances being given over. But in that previous round, good call from IRAE, but it seemed like obviously staying up close on ramp there for a little bit too long. Daneko probably should have fell back a little bit faster after and got that nade off really just a bit quicker in general. He just didn't really have the space to get himself into a strong position while being hunted down, and as soon as they lost B, obviously things were just way too rough to even give it a go. But it's a decent investment, of course, still for Trasko. They've got rifles across the board. Nades still could be way better, so they do ideally need some opening kills in their favour. And, well, they're going aggressive to try and find them. Railway manages to deny the initial one through Hup, but Daneko is good for a return there up on ramp. So they have got a 4-on-4, but look at Railway creeping now. Might be able to catch Wonderful up close. The man behind the bomb site actually does just about manage to spot it. The call's given over to Wonderful. The kill's there, and, well, they've lost the player outside, I believe, in the meantime. So the call's made to rotate quickly down through vents and actually catch an X5 with that as they try and get themselves through secret. Just, again, individual fights being taken all over. Flowing hadn't actually gone down secret. He's back up here on main now.
Messy stuff.
Yeah, just no chances for trades, really.
Flowing trying to work his way out. Can't quite catch the timing. Trasko have their 5th. IRAE, they are getting away with murder so often that I think they're starting to get used to it, and it is so messy across the board as they do take their first timeout. Again, just chaos as they try and take that lower site control. Every time they've sent a man down secret, he's been picked. I'd like to see some kind of a change in the plays. I've got a reaction to that. Will be the force buy coming into this one again, trying to keep that CT economy on a knife's edge. Trasko, it feels like, only a couple of rounds away from absolutely breaking things. This game really feeling like it hangs in the balance now. IRAE can manage to break the CT side. They will be flying. Just a question of can they do it. They're going to call back-to-back tacticals now. Aware of the significance of this round here. 3 AKs, a tech. Davkos can maybe pick up a 4th AK as well, so the force isn't half bad.
Yeah, you should be getting the AK anyway. Get a smoke in an head or whatever behind it as well, so we won't be too limited. It'll be a decent investment, as you said, and that Tech 9 can still be quite useful on a map here like Nuke. Although, considering Railway's having the most solid performance so far for them, I wouldn't mind if he was the player working with one of those rifles for himself. I understand no one really willing to sacrifice when everyone else is pretty capable in their own right. Here we go to pause. It is finally done. As you said, they gave themselves plenty of time to talk about what they wanted to do anyway coming into this round, and that's because they know, as you mentioned, that they do still have the chance of completely breaking Trasko. They haven't lost it quite yet. And of course, they are up against a very solid buy in this round itself, so it's going to be tough to deal with. The nade outside, rather, right on top of Railway. Does tons of damage, and then he gets spotted working around the edge of that smoke, and Wonderful's already gone ahead and spotted, I believe, X5. Waits for him to drop back in, and there you go. Patience, it pays off. X5 falls. It's forced the issue now, as in the IRAE don't really have much of a choice other than to go forward on ramp. And again, the Neko just fallen back away. This time has plenty of time to tuck himself in. He's got the help from Wonderful now back at double doors. And this is just not working out for in the IRAE. It looks like a very convincing hold from Trasko, as they might even be able to avoid casualties.
Much, much better from the CT side. Florian just looking for the exits. Wants to try and get something out of this round at the very least, but he's spotted. Down on 61. The aggression comes in from Daneko. The conversion is in once more, and that's the opportunity Trasko needed that they bought themselves now. The eco will have to come out. And with just a 2400 loss bonus, the next buy won't look too great either. India IRAE, they've been scrapping their way through this first half of Nuke, but they've just lost control of it now. Handful of pistols going to be brought into this one. Trasko, an opportunity to stabilize the CT economy and the opportunity to build an incredibly strong half on their opposition's map pick.
Yeah, it's looking good for them so far. Finally, we're seeing an eco. We haven't got many of them in this series in general. There was usually a lot of weapons in the previous one being saved over, so even when it was an eco, there'd still be some rifles and such in play. Toxic though, good angle, pretty standard. Will be overlooked though, considering it's only the pistols Railway had to work with in the IRAE in general. So they were trying to work it in towards A instead, get up close and personal. With this AK, it'll keep its distance, it'll spray away, and, well, there shouldn't really be much trouble at all. It looks like another very clean round. The economy is going to be really building up for Trasko at the end of this one. Not really forced to use too many of those nades either. So not a lot of reinvestment in that department going to have to come true. Lowen, he's just taking his time. He's hoping someone will make a bit of a misplay and show themselves. He has now been spotted, tapping away, not able to find the head. So close, but it's not good enough. Toxic gets himself a third. It's going to be 7-3 now for Trasko, and, well, they seem to have at least found some form back after struggling on overpass, which is obviously a good note.
Close, but no cigar.
Their buy is kind of limited here again. Very few nades.
It's looking really rough, in fact. They'll get 5 AKs, but the smokes are limited, and I'd argue India IRAE looking for 6 here. They need to have some kind of impact on their T side, give themselves a bit of a pistol buffer. This is their map pick after all. Trasko really starting to find their feet. 5 players queued up. They were looking for the early pop out of Squeak. Doubling back now, and it means that they've lost 90% of the map control and 90% of the utility they could afford to bring into this round for nothing. Now they're queuing up. Temple, the first issue, up on top of the hut, just bails out of the first angle. Flowing is holding for him, but Wonderful's got one, and Temple, top of the hut with another. This is a disaster already into the 3-on-5, and India IRAE have got nothing. They've got no utility to get them out of this situation. The nades come in, chip away at all 3. It's a demolition job. Flowing gets 1, but that's it. Davkos picked up by the AWP to finish, and India IRAE, this is their map pick. That looked so blunt, no ideas. They get completely hemmed into the squeaky door push, and it's just a shooting gallery for the CT side.
Yeah, for Temple in particular, good control of the M4, but he also then just baited them into Wonderful to allow him to finish up the final frag as well. Wonderful sitting at 16-3. This is a little bit more like what we were expecting from them on their CT side. It was just missing on overpass. I don't know what went wrong there, to be honest. Once again, just a half buy is all that India IRAE are able to bring true. As before, Doniko drops the nade. The molly actually does a ton of damage as well. And if they try and come through the smoke, then there could be trouble found. The AK, not quite able to get it done, actually. A good job, rather, to swing out through both of the openings. Obviously, though, it did expose them to the op of Wonderful back towards single. Thankfully, though, that smoke stops the molly from blooming, but Fostar just gets vision, opening up the door for his teammate right there. It allows them to deny the bomb plant, and now X5 has no hope of getting that bomb planted. He's got a Tech 9 and a player who's crept out with a smoke, and, well, he's got the first kill, so maybe he can do it with the frags, but the op, it won't pick up. He's got T-Rex arms. Eventually manages to retrieve it. And the molly towards window could actually force that player back. It might give him the opportunity to potentially get the one-on-one, but no, I think that player has moved through, has he? Oh yeah, he has. He's right above him. X5. I don't know if he'll expect this. He doesn't. He gets caught off guard. Good work from Toxic. It's 9-3. In the IRAE, nothing's working for them.
Nothing at all. That was some SEAL Team 6 levels of nonsense there. One opens the door. It's a free shot. Davkost got with his pants down on the lower sight. And as you said, India IRAE just nothing doing at the moment on their map. We'll be able to get the buyout. Davkost will have the AWP, but again, slim in the utility department. And at this point, Trasko are going to be buying to the end of the first half, no matter what comes through. They've got the cash built up behind them, and it allows them to be a little more proactive in things. Railway chews on some early utility, down to 58. Needs something to work out here. Wonderful, brimming with confidence. 18 and 4, as you mentioned. He's now pushed into the hut. Takes that map control away, waiting potentially for a flashbang in to even start crunching in. That's Fostar with him. And he's going to leave his AWP there. Wonderful on a nasty little angle here. If someone comes in solo, they are done for. And again, India IRAE not really doing anything with this early round, right? There's 5 of them queued up inside a lobby. It honestly just feels like they're going to rely on brawling it out to get towards either of these sites. And because they've taken no map control, the CTs have still got plenty of utility to work with. They're still locked on to the overwhelming majority of the rotations. And as this hit looks to come through, Daneko spotted out. He'll drop down. Here's the footsteps. Drops some utility of his own. He's at least had to concede the ramp control, but there's only 40 seconds left. X5 gets caught between two mines. Daneko, despite a late flashbang, has got the opening, and now Wonderful's angle going to be tested. It's a freebie. They are so well set up for this, the CT side. India IRAE have done nothing to budge their default. And Hurtfrisk and Davkost, again, find themselves just going for a gentle stroll out of Squeaky Door. Davkost posted, but there's 20 seconds. They need to make a choice. They need to stick around and die, or they need to get the hell out of here. Davkost thinking about going down the ladder. It's into the meat grinder. Does well to even find the leg as Hurtfrisk. There's nothing to do. It's double digits for Trasko. This is really dire from India IRAE.
Fostar's not able to join in for the teammates, sadly. Yeah, as you said, there's just not a lot being done at the moment. The default, and they didn't really put enough pressure on either to actually force Trasko into a position where they'd be short on nades even as the pushes come in. So it's just an easy hold for Trasko. Get those nades down. As I said, they've been great on the teamwork with the flashes and such. That was also the case back on Overpass. Just an all-around solid team effort with really everyone fragging. As I said, Fostar's kind of chilling. He's down there on 4 and 5, but everyone else is more than carrying enough weight as well. A quick peek there from Davkost. Does actually bait out the op shot. Manages to then catch Toxic peeking back in from main. And that makes things a little bit worrisome. Wonderful actually repositioned so we can hope to hold down the weapon. Don't want to give that away. Not going to be a big deal though. Davkost I think is the only one without the rifle, so he's just going to fall back, not wanting to risk his life either way. They've got the AKs elsewhere and they just want to make sure they can use this advantage now. And hope to try and work their way back up to 5 rounds, which wouldn't be terrible.
Must win for the T side. Again though, very limited in the util to make an execute a reality. Relying on just brawling their way onto one of the sides, which has been how they got all of their rounds, essentially. Davkost with bomb on his back is baiting Daneko out. Shots landed, tags exchanged, but he's got to be a little conscious. He does have bomb on his back. All he's trying to do is sell half a fake. As now India IRAE are going to come back towards this A site, but again, there is limited utility. No flashes. Temple tucked behind the silo will get so much done here if given half a chance. Wonderful's there to back him up as well. Steals the first kill, arguably. Pop flash over the top. Florian does well, blinded to find it. Takes a dink down to 13 as a result, and Trasko, with 20 seconds left, 3v4, they've got to have a real hard think about this. They've got the money to throw themselves at the round. They have everything going their way. Do they want to potentially ship off some rifles to this T side? They're already starting to have a look in. Daneko from out of heaven. He's got Florian on 13 HP underneath him. Davkost with just a deagle is tucked into the T side of vents. They're giving nothing away. And Railway, there you go. 2 quick kills. Davkost picks up another and Wonderful looking for the 1v4. Has been dinked up. He'll hit his second flick and will do well to get away with the AWP. Takes away a couple of rifles from that T side as well. All in all, not a bad result, but a fourth round again just brawled onto the A site by IRAE. And if they can take a 10-5 half, quite frankly, they should be writing thank you letters because they do not deserve these rounds at the moment. They are just scrapping their way into the sites.
Yeah, I mean, off of 5, it could also be achievable, especially if that pistol round goes their way, as we always say. So, feeling pretty thankful, as you said, that they are given a bit of an opportunity now to get their way back in, but that doesn't mean they're getting an easy final round here either. There's still plenty, there was still plenty of money, of course, for Trasko to buy. They've got the double up setup back in. There's nothing lacking at all. So IRAE still have a very difficult round ahead of them, and well, let's see what the plan is. We see Toxic actually push up in close towards Secret. We've seen this before. X5 did get caught by it. This time, though, I would imagine will clear it out, and he has teammates at least coming forward with him, so trades would likely be available, although he heads Garage. Navcost is going to join him. They go around the edge of that smoke, so Toxic is not going to find anyone quite yet, but wonderful. He may get an opportunity to run boost, though, spots the shoulder, still lands the shot. As Wonderful has just been an absolute monster so far here. He's 23-4. A reminder, he's only 16 years old. Toxic, though, he eventually comes in to look for a little bit, finds the back of Railway, bails down Secret, and doesn't want to give any chances at all away. And Wonderful, he unfortunately just misses the time in there, but it doesn't matter. He catches it on X5 instead. He's so quick, his reactions are nuts.
That was a shoulder, and he still hit it, looking for more. Davkos looking the wrong way, why not? Frisk, all that remains, an 11-4 half, near enough an inevitability. Trasko looking so solid. Flawless. 11-4 at the half. Trasko putting it to the sword against IRAE, and they will look to take us to that third and final deciding map of Vertigo after the break. Dominance at the half from Trasko, but we've seen this before. IRAE leaving themselves with a tall mountain to climb. It has to start with the pistol as they look to recreate their antics from Overpass.
Yeah, certainly not going to be an easy task, although at least this time the positive is they're on the CT side, so reasonably you could expect it a bit more so than what we got back on Overpass, where it was honestly just kind of out of nowhere. We'll see what Trasko can do. If they can get this pistol round, if they can start off their T side on a high note, then it's going to become incredibly difficult for INDA to get themselves back into this. But X5, he's got a difficult opportunity here on outside. 4 players swing on him. Does at least manage to come away with the 1, and, well, Davkost from up in heaven is able to stop Fostar from crossing over. So despite being forced to, of course, concede the control, and they do let those players slip down secret, but at least they're working with an advantage when it comes to the manpower. I don't think they want to commit this on B either. It looks like they might want to come up through vent. Trying to join up though with their teammate, who unfortunately is being caught by the ramp aggression, so the perfect counter from INDA. Also having a player pushed up through door.
Lovely setup. X5 unfortunate not to get the second there as well on the spam down. Davkost does well, a little bit awkward for the P250, and from that point onwards, Trasko just caught in 2 minds. Didn't seem quite sure where they wanted to go with it in that 3-on-4 situation. Wanted to loop back around, but the hut control had come through at that point. There was 2 angles, and Railway took full advantage for the kill. So an opening round. This one arguably even more important than the previous, though. Tech-9's by and large brought out by the T side. No bomb plant, no AK-47s, a P250 for Wonderful, a MAC-10 for Fostar. And this second round conversion, we see it so many times. CT sides, they slip this one, and life gets very awkward as a result. He's made his way down. He's achieved the vent dive here, and he'll start to lurk around this lower site. Railway, aware of the possibility, is going to turtle up. Loop around through that ramp, though, is going to leave him very isolated. Just an MP9. There's nobody there to cover him. Fostar, yes, he takes a tag. Davkost trying to do what he can in support, has left himself isolated, and Wonderful's P250 opens up. 3 quick kills. This is disastrous. IRAE caught in all sorts of bother. 3 kills across the map, secure it. Trasko, that early vent dive really unlocks everything. Railway is so damn isolated, and from there, there's really nothing that CT side can do. No information, no idea what's going on, and none of the frags go their way.
No, just spirals out of control. Unfortunately, not great weapons being recovered for Trasko, but I don't think they really care at this stage. They've managed to come through and steal it away, and, well, it's, as I said, now just going to put them in a prime position to start running towards that finish line. It's an M4 and an MP9 being carried over, but behind it, there's not going to be a great investment for IRAE, and I imagine they will go for it. They're just not going to have many opportunities now to get the guns going on this CT side. So it is a bit of a dire situation, to be honest. Yeah, as you can see, maybe an MP9 or some SMGs rather can be dropped over by the players who have a bit of extra money, but I think they'll probably even just focus on getting the nades into play. That is the case for Hurt Frisk. Scout on Davkost, I mean, they have a good combination. You can get some good damage done. Scout tags up a couple players. The Deagles become really solid. Helps out the MP9. Helps out the M4 as well, of course. So I definitely wouldn't count them out of having a chance of fighting back in here. But you can see Trasko have gone heavy on the nades. We'll probably see them slow things down a little bit in comparison to what they've done in that previous round.
Dire straits here for IRAE. Their own MP9s being used against them. These rifles need to find early purchase. Hurtfrisk does just that. Fostar the first to fall. Not going to get easier, though, and with a man down the vents again, it's Daneko taking the control away, allowing for the opportunity to split into this lower site. Outside smokes come out. CT side, again, very slow to rotate. They're holding on to the ramp control, sure, but with the wall of smokes up, the lower site is wide open. They just don't seem even interested. Flashbang. Temple will take the garage control. They may look to loop this around now, Trasko, with that isolated man in the lower site to catch rotations. Davkost now does start to make his way down lower with X5 in tow. But Trasko slow it down. They take away the sound cues. They take the information out of the CT side. And again, this starts to look very, very chaotic for the CTs. They are all over the shop. Temple's about to sneak his way out of heaven. Catches Railway out in no man's land. Lucky to be alive, the Deagle. Resets in towards hell. Going to be pincered, though. Molotovs start to come into this A side. The split looks like the reality that we live in. Toxic and Temple combined for 3. It's done again. A scout and a deagle, all that's between them and 13. This force buy for the CT side once more has fallen flat. This is the Trasko we expected on map 1. Showing up in a big way. X5 and Davkos would do well to even save this. It's going to be 13, likely 14 before they can buy again. It is a long way home for IRAE on their map pick.
Vertigo is going to be rough for IRAE also. It's one they can play. They've had some good wins on it, to be honest. They've played 3 games on it, and the only one they've actually lost was versus Akuma, which, considering they actually took that to a double OT before losing, I think is a pretty respectable result. The problem is it's also quite strong for Trasko. They've put in a ton of games on it. It's actually their most played map. Yeah, I was trying to double check and make sure that they hadn't played another map anymore. It is actually their most played map, and they've taken wins over the likes of Tricked. Some names I don't recognize. Close games versus Namiga. A team called Sacramento, that's from Russia. That's an interesting name. There's a lot of one-sided wins, although I've got to say, in terms of the level of teams that they've played on the map, it doesn't quite stack up to what we were saying, of course, about their overpass, where they had some really good wins.
That's starting to really be reflected in things now. 13-5 down, half buy out. Handful of deagles. Davkos, of course, saving across that scout. But up against the full buy of Trasko. Still the MP9 in the hands of Daneko. M4 saved across onto Temple. They're using the CT's weapons against them. Early flick doesn't quite land, but on the second opportunity, Wonderful will take it with open arms. The early man advantage again found by this T side. And this one really is just going to be about not giving too much away. Don't lose too many rifles. Don't make it any more expensive than it has to be. The lead is substantial now for the T side. With only a couple of players even able to afford armor behind the deagles into this one, it should be a done deal. X5 next to be tested on the site itself, looking to play close under heaven. The Molotov start to flush him out. Floine tries to catch a timing, but they are not biting. Trasko are giving this CT side nothing, and it's a demolition job. Beautifully brutal. The words I'm looking for from Trasko. 14-5, and this is it. This buy decides whether it's map 3 or whether IRAE will have a second chance at life.
I mean, they made an incredible comeback happen on Overpass, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it here again. Temple's looking really strong for Trasko. Obviously, Wonderful has been fantastic as well. Could also say Wonderful, I suppose, but it's got one of those names. And I mean, Fostar's again just kind of been chilling. How is he got? He's 6 and 8. He was like 4 and 5 like 10 rounds ago. I don't know. He's just chilling in the back of the pack, letting his teammates do all the heavy lifting. It's 14-5 now in the array with what is a pretty weak buy, all things considered. They've already tossed out basically all of those nades. They've got a flash of HE and a decoy if we're going to count it. So it's going to come down to hitting the shots and getting the kills, and Floine at least with a solid start there as he drops Temple. As I mentioned, one of the heavy fraggers so far here for Trasko on Nuke.
Jumps for joy as he finds the initial kill. Need a lot more where that came from though, and Fostar expecting it, takes the dink on the chin. Again, as you said, with all the nades gone, little to no information now for this CT side, and as they start to push for it, they start to be punished. Toxic. A big pick onto X5 in towards Mini. Once again, IRAE, a man down. No real info on where on earth this is going. The T side just slowing it to a crawl, knowing full well that IRAE don't really have the nades. What they don't know is they have absolutely no nades to make any kind of an information play, and as a result, as this bomb slowly loops its way down to the lower side with 35 seconds left, the only man home is Davkos, and he's holding for control. Hurtfrist looks for the info, can't find it, it's done. Write this one off, exclamation mark GG in the chat. We may as well head to Vertigo. Florian looking for something, spots out Fostar, but almost symptomatic of things. He can't land the shot. Fostar will escape, and Toxic will rip his head off on the repeat. 15-5. The third map beckons on the horizon. Trasko, a different beast on Nuke.
Yeah, this has been so much better, and there's just nothing there for IRAE to even try and fight for the overtime with now. It is looking like Vertigo is going to be a necessity in this one. And as I mentioned, it's a good map on paper for Trasko. I don't think they've been tested by the strongest of teams. And on the other hand, in the array themselves, or they have actually played, I think it was only like 3 games in the past few months. Couple of wins over VP, Prodigy and Spirit Academy, and a very close matchup versus Akuma, who obviously have looked super impressive as of late. So it is definitely one that both teams are capable of playing. But coming off a loss like this, it can be difficult to recover. I would have said the same, though, about that comeback that obviously Trasko suffered against in the previous. But things are starting to actually take a bit of a dive right here. Hang on. The aggression through lobby pulls an advantage in favour of the CT side. In theory, some weapons there to be upgraded as well, but they're going to hang on because you can see Trasko are moving back in towards lobby. Floween catches Temple, and now Fostar looking a bit intimidated to continue moving forward. I think he knows X5 is still around here as well. Pretty sure it'd be noted that there was 2 players pushing forward, and well, there you go, a swing on the MP9. Oh, and obviously Fostar just tossed that molly down, hoping to catch him before he could get the weapon fully back out. And a bit of a lifeline is found, but it's just the start. They've only put a dent in the economy barely of Trasko, who can buy right back in and have another one really sitting in the bank still. So it's going to be another couple before they truly break them down.
Yeah, you got 9 more of those kind of rounds sat in the bank. 15-6, needing 9 on the trot to force the OT. At least the buy looking a little bit better into this one. Davkos still hanging around with that scout. 4 rifles on the board, and of course, as you said, still the buys to come through from the T side. Wonderful on the AWP, AKs across the board, the utility flooding outside initially. IRAE not going to be getting away with any early picks on this occasion. The smokes keep them completely out of the equation. Once again, we see this play towards the lower side of the map. This has been where IRAE have had so many problems. This time an early rotation. 2 players down here, including Floween, who's on the, I call it the headbutt peak. Bounces up and down to make it as difficult as possible for the T side. Molotov to force Railway back, however. Minute and 5 left on the clock. For the first time in a while, it's an even 5v5. Railway now to be tested. Fostar walks a little too keenly into the angle. There's the opening they desperately needed, but Temple is there for the trade. Keeps it evens on the 4-on-4. As the bomb looks to loop its way around towards the ramp, if they can deal with the scout of Davkos, then that B bomb site once again looks ripe for the taking. The timings are going to be absolutely everything here. The T side transitioning. The CT's looking to make rotations as well. 35 seconds on the clock. It looks like instead the crunch in towards upper. X5 up for the challenge. Temple goes down. IRAE looking on form for another. Davkos with a clean headshot deals with Toxic, and now with just 25 seconds, they're mollied out of their preferable angles. Wonderful trying to make his way into the hut, but the smoke through Squeaky isolates his teammate, and this round should be done now. Daneko and Wonderful will look to save what they've got. It's a tame finish to things, but IRAE, well, it's their last possible opportunity to find their form, and they are starting to find it.
Yeah, unfortunately a bit later than when they were able to get the rounds going on Overpass, and I mean already that one looked pretty unachievable. 8 needed. It'll be an overtime that they'd have to fight for. But I think even if they just fight their way back in a small bit, kind of take some of that confidence away, some of the momentum from Trasko, then at least just prime themselves better heading on towards Vertigo. Who knows? Maybe while you're taking it a step at a time in that direction, could suddenly end up at 15-50, and it does happen. But again, they still need a little bit more here before they have a chance for an easier time against weaker weapons. Even then, I think with the 2400 loss bonus, pretty much everyone would be able to get another buy on top of this. So Trasko, especially if they get a bomb plant, won't have any issues at all in the following round. Those buys are just going to keep on coming. Positive of course, being on that T side. And despite being up 15-7, they're happy to use their pauses.
Don't blame them. You don't want to give IRAE a sniff in here. You want to get this done, locked out, go to Vertigo, feeling confident. Wonderful, forced off his early peak by the Molotov. Like to see Trasko just up in the pace a little bit here. It was how they had a lot of their early success. Slowing down and going a little more passively into these ones as the smokes are lined up for outside. Interesting spot for the 2 lineups there. It allows you to play it a lot more passively than going all the way back into spawn, and that's exactly what Trasko look to use now as they do push that aggression. Molotov in from the CT side to buy a little bit of time. X5 has dropped down to try and support. He was guilty of getting found on this angle a few too many times on IRAE's T side rather. Let's see if he can do it on CT. Smoke out. Playing for the info. Here's a footstep. That'll drop down. 55 seconds. Buys them about 15. Again, the rotation's a long way away from IRAE. It's X5 pretty much on his own. There will be a fast ramp rotation from Railway, but he's got it all to do. Spray down through the smoke, only good for the one. Toxic finds a clean headshot, and as they start to scramble now, CT's trying to get into place. Nice trade 1-for-1 from Railway, but it's Wonderful who pins him to the back wall once again, and 2v3. That bomb, plenty recoverable. It's going to be Floyd and Hurtfrisk to try and make the rotation down the ramp. Retake into that B bomb site. They've got a little bit of time at the very least, but now the bomb is planted. The flash to try and get them out the ramp isolates the first fight, but Wonderful is still posted and still fragging. Hurtfrisk's nades trades it. Wonderful is down to single digits, but Daneko's still a complete unknown towards that single door, and there's no offensive utility. If Hurtfrisk had a nade, then it's a free 1v1. Instead, it's a swing, and there's the first frag. Daneko has to play this smart now. Flashbang goes in to try and flush him out. Hurtfrisk taps it, sticks it, looks to play the time. It's going to be all on this swing, and Daneko has done it. 16-7. Trasko will take us to that third deciding map of Vertigo. They take a little while longer than expected,